So you're driving in Ontario and you pull into a DUI check stop, otherwise known as a RIDE program, reduce impaired driving everywhere. And the loaded question that clients and everyone ask me at parties and whatever is, do I have to answer the questions at a RIDE check stop in Ontario? And wow, that's an interesting question. First of all, there are certain questions you're mandated to answer. You have to produce your license, your insurance, ownership, all that sort of thing. You have to give your name and address. Beyond that, you have a right to remain silent, which is an interesting concept. Your right's not to answer questions. So the first question they ask you after this is, have you been drinking tonight? So, I mean, if you give them attitude and, I refuse to answer that question, what do you think the police officer is going to do in that situation? So it's a catch-22 for me to give you advice in this situation, because I can't tell you to lie. As you know, as a lawyer, I have an ethical obligation to say either remain silent or tell the truth, one or the other. But, what's going to happen? So if you say, okay, officer, I'm not, I have a right to remain silent. Well, of course, they're going to give you the roadside test. And of course, you're going to blow over because you've been drinking, right? Potentially. So again, it's your choice about what you want to do. It's a real catch-22. You could remain silent if you're very polite and maybe the officer recognizes rights and lets you go on the way. But I see a lot of lawyers' website recommending people don't answer any questions. And I'm going, well, that's the law, but I'll let you draw your own conclusions on that. So as I mentioned, there's certain things you have to provide them. And if they go on to other questions about, where you're coming from and whatnot and get into all this stuff, you probably do want to exercise your right to silence, because they can ask those questions, but maybe at some point, hey, I better cut this off. So I'll leave it up to you what you're going to do, but certainly I can't advise you to lie, but obviously many people do, and they seem to get away with it. For example, if there's no odor of alcohol on your breath and you say you have no beers, they can give you a breath test without any suspicion, but do you really think they're going to pull everyone in and give breath tests? They only have a few devices there with all these cars pulling in, and they're really going after people with alcohol in their breath or who admit they're drinking and driving. So I'll leave it up to you what you do. I can't advise you to lie, and I'm not doing that. I guess I know what I would do in that particular situation, of course, and I'll leave it at that. So yeah, it's a RIDE program. If they do ask you to provide a breath sample, it's actually a demand. It's not a request. You have to. Do provide it at the road. You're not entitled to a lawyer at the roadside. You have to provide that breath sample. Of course, if you fail, if you blow over 100 milligrams, that's what it's calibrated at, in 100 milliliters of blood at the roadside at least, you go down for the main test and see if you blow over 80. So here you have it. Those are your rights. You have a right to remain silent. It's a catch-22 type right in this situation, and it's very delicate for me to give you legal advice on the internet about this, about what you should do in this situation. I'll leave you to your own devices on it. Thank you for watching our video. We are absolutely committed to bringing you the best possible criminal and DUI educational videos. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you've been charged with a criminal offense in Ontario and require our services, please click on the link in the description below.